Hey everybody, it's Storytime Fran. I'm here today to give you some little tips and tricks on how to read picture books to toddlers. You know, if you had a toddler, you know that getting their attention and keeping their attention for anything longer than 0.5 microseconds is really hard. I don't have any magical cure for the really short attention spans toddlers have just by nature, but I do have some tips for you that should make reading picture books to your children more fun and easier and more effective. So a good reading experience begins with a good book. They're all different litmus tests for how I know what's a good book. Or the most important thing, honestly, is that you, the reader, enjoy reading the book. The important thing is that your kids, when they're sitting down with you to read, they see from you that reading is fun, it's enjoyable, it's meaningful. So it's important to pick things that you like. And as a children's librarian who does this for my living, it took me a while to catch on to that. I always tried to pick things that, this is great reading material, this is an award winner, or somebody I don't even know told me this was a great book, which is fine. It's great to get ideas, it's great to look up award winners, but ultimately the quality of the experience is going to come down to how much you are into the book itself. Feel free to share books that you loved as a child. Feel free to share books that you've seen other people read. If you're totally stumped, head to your local library with your library card and check out some books. Now that you have your book, let's talk about how we read books to children. A good thing to do when you're first starting your book is, even before you start reading the book, to do some pre-reading to get your kids engaged in the book. The big thing about reading books to children is to get them thinking, get these gears up here moving. And a good way to do that is to do what we call a picture book walk. Let me show you what I mean. So what we do is we start with the cover. Here's the cover. Oh, okay, here's the title, The House in the Night, okay? What do you see on this book here? What do you see on the cover? Right, we see a house. We see, what's this? Maybe a sun. Everything's dark, so maybe this is the moon. Okay, so here's the title page. Here's another title page. And here's the first page. So when we're doing a picture book walk, we don't actually read the words on the page, not just yet. What we're doing is we're walking kids through the book, talking with children about the book, and getting them to, again, get these gears moving, getting them to think about the story, to make predictions, or even just to point out and say, oh, look, it's a dog. So here we have a picture. Looks like we have a little girl, and there's a violin on the bed, and here's a light. What do you think she's doing there? She's got the drawer open. Let's turn the page and find out. Okay, so now she has a book. It's like she's reading. There's a cat. What do you think she's reading? Now that we've got kids interested in the book, now that we've kind of opened it up, looked at it, made some guesses, made some predictions, now we're actually going to read the book. Now what we want to do is, I'm holding the book like this so you can see the pictures. If you're having a child sit on your lap, you can of course hold it like this, but make sure that the child can see and point to and interact with the pictures. As we read, what we're going to do is we're going to actually point to the words. Here is the key to the house. The reason we do this is because children haven't, usually kids who are, preschool, pre-K, before that, they're still trying to understand this whole concept of reading. So when we point to the words, we're showing that we're actually reading words on a page and not just making the words up as we go. Another key point is to, how do I say this? Don't let your self-respect get in the way of a good time. What I mean by that is be expressive, be goofy, be silly. Kids love it when you make a fool of yourself. Feel free to make voices, use your face. This is going to help them understand the meaning. It's also going to make it fun. Let me tell you a secret here, okay? When you're reading to children before the age of kindergarten, your primary goal, your main objective is to make reading fun. There's actually been research to indicate this, that the most important thing at this age, the pre-kindergarten age, to get children ready to read is to make reading fun. Children who find reading exciting and enjoyable are more likely to be good readers than those who don't. So in that vein, let's talk about what happens when everything goes wrong. It's a bad day. Little John or Susie just isn't into it. They're not having this reading thing, or they're excited about this and they want to play with this instead. You know what? Don't fight it. Put the book away. Come back to it later. I know how counterintuitive this is for some of us. I know for me it was when I first started reading books to children, and usually I'd pick a book that was way too long, and then I'd read, and then I'd wonder why I suddenly had, toddler circus going on. I had kids, running around and standing on chairs and stuff. And my first reaction as a children's librarian, but also as a child who was brought up to sit and listen, was, oh my gosh, what is going on? I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to church and I used to sit and listen, and I wouldn't move for 30 minutes while the pastor preached about the book of Nahum. You know what? Chances are, if I think about it, I probably did move a lot. I bet my dad probably gave me the death stare probably every 5 minutes until the time I was probably 12 when I was sitting in church. But regardless, so I know how counterintuitive this is to go with the flow, and I think for some of us it feels like giving up. It's not, though. What we're doing is we're adapting to the needs of these little people, and their needs are different than ours. Their abilities are different than ours. A lot of kids just can't sit for 20 minutes and listen to a book. That's okay. And further on in this series, I'll tell you a little bit about some tips and tricks you can do while you're reading to kind of help capture their attention again if they start to waver. But for right now, let's focus on the fact that reading has to be fun, and if it's not fun, put it aside, come back to it. It'll be totally okay.